Now, another candidate with whom I agree on almost nothing is Ben Carson. Republican candidate Ben Carson was one of the featured speakers at the National Day of Prayer gathering in Washington, D.C. He told what I can only describe as an utterly delusional story about the time that God helped him ace his college chemistry final by giving him the answers in a dream. He was explaining how if he didn't pass this chemistry class, his dream of being a doctor would have essentially evaporated. And then here is his story of God coming to him and giving him the answers to a chemistry final.
So there I was, night before, thinking about my life. I said, Lord, medicine is the only thing I ever wanted to do. I always thought that's what you wanted for me. And yet, it looks like I'm going to fail chemistry. I'm not going to go to medical school. I said, so would you please tell me what it is you really want me to do? Or alternatively and preferably, work a miracle. And I picked up that big chemistry book. I was going to learn the whole thing that night. And of course I fell asleep. Dreamed I was in this large auditorium, just me, and a nebulous figure working out chemistry problems. And I awakened early in the morning. That dream was so vivid in my mind. I picked up my book. I started looking up the stuff that I dreamed about. And when I went to take the test the next morning, it was like the Twilight Zone. I opened that book and I recognized the first problem as one of the ones I dreamed about. And the next, and the next, and the next. And I aced the exam and, got a good mark in chemistry. It worked out okay. But
that's right, Lewis. God helps some people with their chemistry tests, while he allows hundreds of thousands of others to die from diseases and freak accidents. Fascinating, right? God got Ben Carson a great parking spot at the mall after telling him where he had left his keys. Meanwhile, starving children in Africa are dying by the tens of thousands. But God works in mysterious ways, Lewis. Don't you dare question it.
Very mysterious. I think that this story, if I didn't know better, I would say this story is just totally made up nonsense.
Yeah, it's like an Onion story.
Yeah, well, I think he's really, really pandering here and trying to win over the religious right, and that's what this sounds like to me.
Yeah, this guy wants to be president, and some people think he should. I mean, think about the contrast, Lewis. Ben Carson is out there saying God gave him chemistry answers. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders is trying to have a conversation about how can we establish a basic level of health care for everybody, regardless of ability to pay. How could the contrast be more clear?
See, that's just it. I think for many voters, they have this focus on the person instead of that person's positions. And Bernie Sanders is talking about complicated stuff, and maybe people don't want to hear it. Maybe people want to hear what kind of car Bernie Sanders drives and what he listens to when he's rocking out in that car.
Just delusional stories from Ben Carson, and a portion of the electorate seems to like this stuff. People were cheering this story at the National Day of Prayer. It really makes me very skeptical about the future of this country if the group that thinks this is a good story from a presidential candidate, oh, God gave him chemistry answers. Yeah, let's consider voting for that guy. If that's any significant portion of the American electorate, we are in trouble. If I'm wrong, tweet me, twitter.com/dpakman.